Davengers. West Coast Davengers.
There's only one mantra that you all need to know. That's that one over there. See Todd, bye Todd.
Hello. Uh-oh. Why am I there? I am. Yeah, there we go. We don't need the intro thing on the screen. Good evening, everybody. West Coast Davengers. Chat and Chill. Tonight, Chat and Chill is brought to you with no paid partnership by Swoon Lemonade. Something I like. Swoon. You know, if somebody could get me like some type of advertising for the podcast, it'd be great. I am an amazing person as long as I care about your product. Watch, you ready? Swoon Lemonade. Naturally, 0 grams of sugar, only 5 calories, nothing artificial, and a great source of vitamin C. Swoon. Taste the sweetness. Come on. $1,000. Anyway, nobody's paying me to do shit. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat. Let's have a good night tonight. Kate is in the house. Kate got her books already. We're going to talk about that. I got well, not your books specifically, but well, I love it when people tell me that they get their books. Obviously, it's great. But today I got a message, and I thought it was going to be a terrible one. Our friend Jim Gray, who is a Davengerino for many years now, told me that he got the box with the books and they had left it out in a thunderstorm. And I'm like reading this message like with bated breath. And then he's like, I opened the box, the water poured out, and the books were bone dry. Yay, Dave knows what he's doing. It's nice to be able to pat myself on the back for shipping. Derek Neiman in the house. D-Rock. Rami Darwish is in the house. What up, Rami? You heard that. Yeah, I realized that my mic was on and I was just kind of doing the drum beat on my legs there. Hooch, were you the person that asked me to track one of these down for you? I can't remember if it was you, if it was Daryl, Read Your Comics. Somebody asked me to track a copy down and I tracked a copy down. So I will be personally selling it to whoever asked me about that. I can't remember who it was. Joe Williams in the house. Joe, I assume you're headed home. I hope your time in Seattle was good. I saw you went to Fantagraphics. I hope you had a good time there. There we go. Raymar Brunson in the house talking about good people. I'd only talk about good people. I don't waste my breath on bad people. 2 weeks, Raymar's one of his pieces is going to be on a video that I shot. Hey, Joe. What do you know? I would be down for direct edition. So, well, we'll get into it. We'll get into it in a little bit. Got you some Yoo-Hoo chocolate-ish goodness. Yoo-Hoo, it's what's for dinner. Oh, God. Watching while working. Thank you, Dan. Dan is doing work. Maybe I can distract him. Hey there, Dan. How's those residuals going? Would you like some tasty swoon? Speaking of Dan, I hope everybody got a chance to peep the interview that I did with him on Direct Edition this week. I had a great time chatting with him, and we're not done. We talked about his record label, Stand Up Records. We talked about his punk labels, Ism and Ismist, being an integral part of the building blocks of getting Slipknot started, comedy, stand-up comedy. He endured some really shitty technical problems that I was having, and thank you for that. So we're going to talk about the podcast in a little bit. But shout out to Dan and thank you for being my guest. San Pellegrino here. All right. You're going a little hoity-toity. Okay, it wasn't you. But it's definitely not for free. No, not at all. Not at all. At the airport now, Fantagraphics was great. Picked up some goodies. Good to hear it, Joe. I'm sorry I didn't catch you. Next time, hopefully I can. It's just been hasn't been a bad week. It's just been an extremely busy week. I haven't been feeling good today, and it's probably because of the stress and anxiety I've dealt with in the first couple of days this week. Dave SMR. You know, I used to have a Discord, and it was supposed to be run by two Davengerinos, and no shade towards them. It's just I I made it, and if I didn't do anything with it, it usually went like dormant. And so I just decided to delete it. I think, Brunson, that when I hit my 10K on this channel and I do either a Patreon or a Substack, then I'll recreate and I'll do a new Discord to add to it. But it's just a lot of work, man. Doing this all myself with, the help of editors and designers and stuff, but like the content and everything comes from me, and it's tough with the two things. Dan is kind of a big deal. He's not just kind of a big deal. He is a big deal. He's actually quite tall as well. Yeah, it did, but there's always time for another one, I'll be back. KWCD is on the air, and we're here with John Hurwitz out of Portland, Oregon. John, how you doing today? Yeah. So this week, let's see what we did this week. We dropped the interview on Monday. I dropped 2 videos on DAVENGERs because the Capullo top 10 cover sank like a stone, and so I dropped the Comic Tim in Japan video, which also didn't do well, but the Comic Tim thing is only for people with a good sense of humor. The rest of the people that aren't watching it or don't like it, I'm sorry that you can't laugh. That's not my problem. Because if you're thinking to yourself, well, Dave, it's not funny. No, it is. It is. No, it is. I know comedy. And you know who else knows comedy? This guy right here knows comedy. Anyway, but yesterday I recorded a new interview with Daniel Warren Johnson. So it's going to drop, the full interview is going to drop Monday next week on Direct Edition. You'll get a 10-minute preview, kind of like what I did with the Chip Zdarsky video. Will be on West Coast Davengers this Sunday. Trying to push as many people to subscribe to the podcast for interviews, because it just doesn't suit, it doesn't work. The algorithm doesn't like interviews on a non-interview show. Tom McFarlane, different, that's an exception, Bedazzle, did I say that right? Bedazzle, nice to see you. Thank you for joining. And, oh, there he is. Mike's in the house. Tampa in the house. Andrew P's in the house also. Andrew P said, I love the Comic Tim Japan video. Was the break glass in case of emergency option? Yeah. I have a couple of videos that I never edited that are like that. Like I did a flip through of Daniel Warren Johnson, the Extremity Artist Edition. And that I just never edited and can put it out whenever I want, I guess. Comic Tim and Larry from Three's Company would have been great friends. Also, I think Comic Tim and pretty much either or any of Sacha Baron Cohen's alternate personalities, whether it's Borat or Bruno or Ali G, I think they would have at least gone toe to toe. I'm sure Ali G probably would have, Guam, there we go. Yeah, just sub it up. So, the Daniel Warren Johnson interview is great. We talked about his Kickstarter, which is going on right now for the art of Daniel Warren Johnson, his first ever art book. It's being put out by Flesk Publications. It's currently on Kickstarter. You'll hear all about it. Dan, I mean, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Dan. If you read modern comics, you're most likely a fan of Daniel Warren Johnson's work. But talking to him is a different story. It's just a good time. And I told him at some point we're going to do like a 2.5, 3 hour interview, because like I did half hour with him the first time. I did a little over an hour with him the second time. And then we did a little bit, less than an hour yesterday. So, Sam McClurg in the house. What up, Sam? Hope you're well, my friend. Drink, swoon. B. Paul Art in the house. What's going on? We should just looked up the interior art for Batman War on Crime. Yeah, okay. No worries. Yeah, it's an Alex Ross book. Zatanna, is he doing a Zatanna cover? Is he doing a Zatanna story? So we talked about that he's got a Batman, Absolute Batman annual 30-page story coming out. He's got a lot of good stuff in the works. Yeah. Well, there's always next year. I think that's a convention that he does every year without fail. that, and I don't think he even does San Diego every year, but I think Heroes is the one that he's always going to do, especially because Felix brings, he brings the house, he brings all of his guys. 100% genuine, down to earth, smart, funny, and just one hell of a creator. I mean, I could talk about his work for hours and hours, and I could give you a starting point if somebody in the chat hasn't read something by him. There's something for everybody when it comes to DWJ. Eskel the Mage in the house. Happy hump day, everybody. The Humpty Dance is your chance to do the hump. So the DWJ interview, like I said, a 10-minute piece of it drops this Sunday, mostly talking about the Kickstarter, and then the rest of it drops on Direct Edition. I am recording with friend of the channel, friend of person, Noel Dave, Wayshack tomorrow, because he's got his book coming out finally with Bad Idea called Cul-de-sac. And that's coming out, I think, the first week of August. So I'm recording with him tomorrow. That'll be the following week's interview. And then, if everything goes right, recording with Felipe Smith next week. If you don't know Felipe Smith, if you're a Marvel fan, you will remember that he co-created Robbie Reyes with Trad Moore, All New Ghost Rider. That is Trad and Felipe. But if you also know him from like the Far East, he was the first North American, or the first American to crack manga and do publish a manga in Japan, working and living in Japan. Pipochu, and I know there's, I forget what the other one's, like Heavy Metal or a Death Metal Cop or something like that. I met Felipe a couple of times in passing. I was introduced to him when I used to go to LA a lot, to the Meltdown. Josh, my friend Josh, who used to work there, he introduced me to him, and then Joe Benitez introduced me to him, and finally got in touch with him. And we didn't, he didn't remember me. Like I said, met in passing, but excited to record with him and talk a lot about what it's like to live and work over in Japan, but also just talk about, comics and art in general. He's got a podcast on YouTube called Cringe Musume, CringeMusume, with DJ Five Duck. And it's about like living in Japan. And then I'm not going to spill the beans, but I'm still waiting for the final confirmation. But I got a huge interview that's happening probably in 2.5 weeks. Major interview. So I'm just waiting for that final confirmation. Trip. I mean, like I said, the comics thing, I don't feel like I've conquered it. There's so many other artists, writers, whatever, creators that I want to interview. But I'm trying to crack that other entertainment industry, like music and movies and TV, and it's tough. I get replies, but I'm going to keep pounding away. Like, I like talking to people. I really enjoy talking to people and enjoy putting these interviews out there for not just my own enjoyment, but for everybody to enjoy. So the comic thing, I'm going to keep going. Speaking of, let me say hello to the Canadian Bloodsucker. I don't know what voice that was. Adrian, Actual Dracula. He's Russian now. Adrian, how you doing, brother? I hope you had a good time doing that thing piece. I watched for a little bit and then I clocked out. Marco Martinez in the house. What up, Marco? I did put in the title tonight, Superman Fantastic Four. I'm happy to talk about those spoilers free. Or, if everybody has seen it, I will talk spoilers on either. But happy that they both exist. But let's take a look at what I picked up today at Stargazer Comics in Tacoma. I have never bought a Werewolf by Night book before, but Michael G., I think the way you say his name is Giacchino or Giacchino. Anyway, director, composer, and now comic writer. I'm excited to read this. I really would love to have him on the show and interview him, not only because I've really enjoyed the music that he's put forth in the TV and the movie, Lost and Star Trek and Fantastic Four and the Batman, but his love for Werewolf by Night, we all felt when we saw that movie that he directed. So it would be really cool for him for me to record with him, being that he's huge in the comic world and the TV world in so many different ways. He's a Renaissance man, right? Hayden Sherman's story in this sold me on this today. I would never buy an $8 comic. Like, that's a single issue. This Godzilla versus Boston. And I believe that is that's a Sherman cover. And he does a story in here. And I really, really like Hayden Sherman. If you're not reading Absolute Fantastic Four, Absolute Wonder Woman, you're missing out. And I really want to read Dark Patterns when it's done and collected. I'd love to have him on the show and talk to Hayden. But Hayden's killing it right now, and boom. So I picked that up. And then because I wasn't reading Hello Darkness, I read the first issue. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait till it's collected. I didn't know that they were going to end up collecting Becky Cloonan and Garth Ennis's The War, because that's what I wanted to read. So they're doing it over 2 issues. And this is the first issue, came out today. I went with the Becky cover. I'm going to try and have both of them on together. I had Becky on twice, and I know Garth is a super nice guy. And I'm sure if I reach out to Becky and see if they'd be interested in doing it, then I'm sure it could happen. I've been reading Ennis's work since I was, I don't know, my late teens or early 20s. And Preacher and The Boys and Punisher and The Pro. He's one of the gods of the last 30 years of comic writing for sure. Yeah, if I can't get directly through to Hayden, I'm going to maybe tap one or two of the people I could tap to connect me. Because, yeah, Hayden's just blowing up. All of, not blowing up, like blowing up in the way that, like, the books are just getting better and better. Whatever. That was a stupid turn of phrase. Hayden's amazing. Oh, let me go back to this. Yes, Absolute Wonder Woman is definitely, and I love Absolute Batman, but I think the thing is that I did not expect to love Absolute Wonder Woman, so I think that puts it over Batman for me just by a little hair. Speaking of great comic books, how about this guy? Comic Tropes. Chris is in the house. Hey, Chris. I hope today went well with everything, and hope you picked up your books. Sorry I missed you. Just having a day, man. Having a day. We got to get me and Chris have to do another stream together, figure out something fun to do, because I like talking to him and I like hanging out with him. So what could go wrong? Everything. Yes. Yeah. Well, there you go. Especially for you, Ghostman has got that kind of je ne sais quoi, that panache, that Ennis violence thing. Yeah, Chris, I was going over what I picked up today. So that's why I was talking about Hayden. Yes. Yeah. Absolute Wonder Woman has just been, and I don't know if you saw the last issue cover. When I looked at it, I was like, oh, I wonder who did that cover. And it was a very trippy Absolute Wonder Woman cover. And it turned out that it was Hayden, and Hayden has the adaptability to whatever style Hayden feels like. It's like I had a bad day with shoulder. Yes. So, well, I wasn't feeling good all day, so I guess I'll just have to drink some more Swoon lemonade. 0 sugar. Yes, exactly. Hey, there he is. He's not my papa. He's Erwin Papa. Erwin Papa's in the house. And Matt's in the house too. Heroes for Hire Comic Club. Amazed how good Absolute Batman is given Snyder over. You know what? Yeah, I know what you're going to say, given that Snyder's already done Batman. I was watching a clip of Scott talking at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, which I was not at, but I'll recap it anyway. And he was talking about how, like, he was talking about the Absolute Universe. And I think because he was the architect of it, I really think that this is why it's working so well on all fronts. But yeah, Batman's been so good too. This is Whole Foods. That's where I got it. I haven't seen it anywhere else. Lemonade without sugar, so lemon juice. I mean, yeah, there's whatever. Leave me alone. KO, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it, especially because it stands for King Omega. But you know, I'm not a big one for event books because they usually, this is how an event book goes, right? No. Like the drop off is usually bad. I can think of like a couple that didn't drop off for me, Infinity Gauntlet and the Second Secret Wars. But with Dan Mora doing it and like all the talent that's working on it, and you know, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm enjoying DC a lot more than I mean, just in the last 10 years, I think I've enjoyed more DC than Marvel. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It was body horror to the max. It's insane, all the things that they're doing. And what's really cool about it is that they're able to do it because this is its own universe. It's its own thing. And the stakes can be as big as they want. And as we see, the absolute universe isn't a limited thing, kind of like the ultimate universe, it seems to be. And the talent involved in absolute universe is just top level. Person, turquoise, waving. Hi, Christina. Absolute Batman doesn't look like Bane because Absolute Bane looks like a monster. I don't know. I'm into it. I am totally into it. West Coast Davengers, Evgeny Sokolov art. There you go. What's up, Evgeny? Just a head up when you reach out. Yes, yeah, I do know Derek. I realized that when I was talking before, that I said him. Crisis on Infinite Earths. I've never read it. That shit's too confusing for me. Love the art. Don't care about the story. Very biased, but DC writing has been great right now. Only title I'm not digging Pull is Supergirl. I have not, I mean, I'm only reading Absolute Bats and Wonder Woman. I read the first issue of Superman and I'm like, oh, I'll get this in trade. I read the first issue of Martian Manhunter and I'll get that in trade. I clocked out a Hush. I mean, the worst part about DC right now is Hush 2, but I am super excited for Fraction taking over Batman with Jorge Jimenez. I may be biased because I talked to Chip about it, but you know, I got to get Fraction on the program. Yes, they're not trying to put a new spin on old yarn. That's for sure, and that can be definitely commended on both fronts. Just read issue 10 of Absolute Batman, fun but felt super fast, like there were less pages. I think because it was more action. And when you're reading action, you know, it goes real quick. You know, look, I enjoyed the hell out of Planet Death, #1. I read it so quick, but it felt like I was, you know, in a rush. And that's what that book feels like. I'm excited for the next issue. And so I think when there's a lot of action, obviously you're not going to chew on a ton of dialogue or story, but action books are fun because a lot of people get stuck on thinking that action books are shitty, or sometimes they are shitty. And I think Dragotta and Snyder crafted a fantastic story in that one. Tyler's in the house. Tyler is on vacation. Tyler, hi, my friend. Hope you're well. I didn't ship your books out yet as per your instructions. Not that I needed to say that in a live setting. Yeah, I am. I clocked out. I can't. Look, to me, Loeb has really only done good work with Sale, and that's obviously never going to happen again. And Jim Lee, as much as I love Jim Lee's art, there's really not that many good books that Jim Lee has done that are worth reading, like actually reading. Hush one, fine, it's great, very predictable. You realize that Tommy is Hush in the second issue or whatever, or the end of the first issue. But like Wildcats looks great, shit's ass. Deathblow looks great, it's ass. His X-Men books is when Claremont's like, yeah, nothing was really working. Those stories aren't great. Yeah, Jim Lee's an amazing illustrator. That's about all. And I am not a Jim Lee hater. I'm just saying it's not a lot of good books to read. Yes. Oh my God. What a beautiful DPS. I do honor requests. Yeah. Tell us again about how friggin' refreshing that Swoon is. Let me tell you about Swoon Lemonade. Made in In the Upper Peninsula of New York, New York, Swoon features 0 grams of sugar and only 5 calories, nothing artificial, and a great source of vitamin C. Swoon. Also, the last thing I'll show off that I got today, shout out to Food One, the pal, the dude, Jim Mafood. Heavy Metal issue 2 came out with his cover. Come on. Come on. Come on, Jim. Stop being so good, all right? Leave some good art for the rest of the artists out there. Oh, man. Very true. Very true. But, I love Larson. And Larson, for all intents and purposes, has made great books. They're not like, legendary literary masterpieces, but he has been consistently making great stuff with Savage Dragon. And Todd, the idea of Spawn is great. Some of those stories that he got the other writers to write is great. But I still think his Amazing Spider-Man is great, and his Spider-Man book was great. The stories aren't like A-class level, but I'll take that shit over whatever Jim Lee has done. Sponsored. Oh, hell yeah, Evgeny. I actually have not done anything for that. I've just booked my flight to Eddie P. Con. That's about all I booked. Oh, my rental car. I have to book my stay for Eddie P. Con and then Japan. And then I'll figure out OAX later. Ma Food was built for Heavy Metal covers. I mean, did you see his Iron Man cover from last week? That shit was amazing. I mean, Jim's built to do covers for stuff to really like turn heads. Larson and Valentino both were, Shadowhawk was interesting for sure. And Silvestri is still an amazing artist, but I can't tell you anything about Cyberforce. I can picture all the imagery. And then there's little Rob Liefeld. And So anyway, purified water from the crisp mountain springs of New York, New York. Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, he overwrote Spawn. Too much dialogue. Great concept. Great concept. Like, I don't think anybody's going to argue that the concepts laid down in Spawn, even though some were a little convoluted, I think those are great concepts. I think Todd's always been one of the best idea guys out there, even if he's not the pinnacle of writing. I look for Mahfoud's. I pre-ordered it. I just had them order it at Stargazer. You can ask Damien next time you come in and see if you can get another copy. But I'm sure Jim will get some comps. Maybe he'll sell you one. What was I just thinking? I had a thought about what I was. Oh, I was rereading Sex Criminals after the Chip interview, so it's really been fun to go back and do that. But I've been taking my time getting through the second season of Sandman, and god damn, it's so good. I mean, aside from the controversy surrounding Neil Gaiman and all that, like, that universe is still one of my favorite things that I've ever dove into, and like, it's still my favorite book of all time. And Netflix really did a great job. Alan Heinberg, more specifically, did a great job adapting it. Yeah, I mean, there's not much there. Beautiful art, though. Silvestri still, I mean, even that Batman Joker he did a year and a half ago is still one of the most beautiful books to come out in the last 10, 15 years. It was the Brom cover, the regular cover, because I only saw the regular cover today, and then obviously the one that I just showed off. But Barbarian Kung Fu in the house. What's up, brother? So yeah, has everybody, I'm not going to go into spoilers, but I assume at this point most of you have seen Superman and hopefully Fantastic Four, if not one or the other. But I saw FF last week on Friday at the IMAX in Pacific Science Center. And God, I had so much fun watching that movie. Like, first off, Galactus on screen. Galactus on screen. Holy shit, right? They got it right, but they got it better than right. Because like on the, when you first see him, there's so much Kirbyisms in the scenes there. The whole space, like I said, I'm not going to discuss spoilers, but I'll just discuss like little things. The space scene was like seeing. I said this today to Damien, who owns the comic store I go to, but I was thinking it after I saw it. Matt Shackman in the space scene, when you meet Galactus in that whole 20 minute or whatever, 25 minutes, was basically taking his Kirby influence, throwing it through the lens of Nolan Interstellar and doing that. And it's so fucking awesome. I would even say, like, even if you didn't like the movie, there's no way you didn't love that 20, 25 minute sequence. What up, Michael? How you doing? Yeah, Raymar loved them both. I know Derek did because we talked about it. Dan hasn't seen Superman. Superman was fun, had tons of heart. It's a James Gunn movie. Like, everything about it. If you don't like James Gunn's movies, then you probably shouldn't see it anyway. Yeah, they're definitely good. You could nitpick at any movie at this point in existence and probably pick it apart, but that's like, why would you want to anyway? I love that Reed not only leapt into action, we could even... Yes, they nailed his scale. Ralph Ineson with the voice. I mean, when he was cast, I was like, oh yeah, because The Witch, which he plays the father in, is one of my favorite modern movies. Actually, fuck that. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And as soon as I saw that he was cast, I was like, oh, that's the voice. That's the voice. Like, his baritone British voice is amazing. I'd say after WandaVision and FF, Marvel should lean on Shackman for more. Well, look, he knows comics and he's a fan of comics. Both of those projects are visionary projects. They have his vision on it, and they have his love for comics is all over those two projects. So I don't disagree with that. I would agree with that. Vacation helps keep me from going anyways. Innocent has been good in everything. Office, I forgot that he was in The Office. And then, right, Game of Thrones, he was one of the people. I forget that, like, pretty much everybody that we've seen in anything in the last, like, 5 years or so since Game of Thrones ended was in Game of Thrones. You know, I had a Letterboxd account a long time ago, and I was just like, I don't want another social network type thing, so I deleted. I do that a lot. I go on these things, I spend a little time on them, and I'm like, man, this is just another time suck, so I'm not. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Geezy, or Jeezy, I'm assuming it's Geezy. Longtime watcher, really enjoy your channel. I have a question, though. If I have a pull list and I'm buying a lot of brand new comics every Wednesday, do you think I'm throwing my money away? Geezy, or Jeezy, or both. That's a good question because I go in between. You saw what I picked up today. If you were in here at the beginning of the show, I picked up 4 books this week. I am very much not a weekly reader pull list person. I like what I like and I read what I read. I am happy to kill a book if I don't like it. I think you should support comic stores by maybe not doing a ton of weeklies, but getting the trades. I think the people that say stuff like, oh, you need to do it weekly. You need to support comics in a monthly format or weekly format. I disagree. 100% disagree. They write for the trade and that's that. So I think that cutting back, if you find you're spending too much money, is okay. I think getting trades and hardcovers is okay. And I think maybe exploring creator-owned stuff, independent, having your comic store ordering that stuff is actually a better way of doing weekly books or monthly books or whatever. Like, if somebody, a creator that you like, is putting out a book from a smaller publisher and they can order it, like that's a great idea. Yeah. Dagmar Cleftjaw. Is that the name of Innocent's character on Game of Thrones? Sorry, Raymar, it's not you, it's me. So good in The Witch. Yeah. Oh my God. Right? Like the beginning of that movie when they're being excommunicated, there's a ton of dialogue in that scene and it's mostly him. And it's brilliant. Fucking love that movie. I saw it in IMAX whenever that was, end of last year, earlier this year. I think it's it's kind to occasionally buy a steak for your local comic shop, maybe some lobster. I don't know if that's what metaphors are. No, I cannot. Metamorpho. He takes the shape of whatever he likes. What's he now? He's a gold bar. Stick him in your mouth. Eat him in your jar. Metamorpho. Yeah. Right. Brought to you by Swoon. By the way, thank you for that question, Geezy. Anybody else have any questions? They're always welcome to ask. That's what the chat and chill is for. I'm chilling. I'm chatting. You're chilling. You're chatting. You know, maybe I'll have a guest on one of these weeks. But you know what's interesting? Whenever I post one of these and I'm doing a chat and chill with a guest, people don't show up as much as when it's just me sitting here. I refuse to accept that people actually come here to see me. That's my brain. By the way, thank you to anybody who did watch either or both videos this weekend and hit the like button. They weren't the most popular videos, and it's tough. Let's see. We got 39 people in here. Don't forget the like button, by the way. Let's poll, or not, just, throw in the chat. What kind of videos would like to see me do besides the comic hunting videos, right? Like, sure, I'm going to travel. I'm going to go to cons. I'm going to go to stores and film stuff. I'm going to buy collections, but I can't do that every week. It is financially impossible and just impossible to find a collection every week. So, ideas for shows, I'm down. Like, if you've got an idea for something that maybe a video I could do with Chris, aka Comic Tropes, we're here for Tyler. Yeah, that's 100%, Sam. 100%. Not here for me. Definitely here for Tyler. He's the Pope. I'm just like the reluctant Jesus figure. I don't know. Yeah, of course. Tap dancing. The problem is I have carpet in here. So tap dancing would just sound like this. It's just a bunch of thuds, not thugs, but thuds. Travel video to Connor store. Chris, next time I see you, I'm going to smack you for that. Because I said, drink Swoon. Anywho, Fantastic Four was fantastic. I kind of want to round up. I kind of want to round up all of the people that complained about Julia Garner being Silver Surfer Shalabal, because she clearly stole every scene in the movie that she was in. I did do a jig. Yes, I did. So, Raymar, I only draw when I'm high. I have a couple videos of me drawing. One of them is, if I can find it, I could probably play it right now. So, yeah. Carpet means you tap on hard mode. I asked people, besides the videos that I normally do, going to a store or a con or a travel video, I said, what other things would you like me to do? Yes. She's always great. I mean, after watching Ozark, I knew as soon as they cast her, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for this. How about videos on your favorite runs, sets, storylines? Vince, I mean, that's not a bad idea, but I feel like every time I do a favorite thing video, it just doesn't go over well, right? I thought about, I'll do a flip through of the collection soon enough, but, the thing about me, and there are different types of, comic YouTubers or just YouTubers in general and people, I'm not one to talk about a comic too in depth unless there's somebody else to have the conversation with. So I don't know if you've been paying attention. Some people see the posts in the community posts section of YouTube, but I've done a bunch of videos with Daryl, Read Your Comics, and we did flip through a Fantastic Four 48, 49, and 50 last week on his channel. It's about an hour and 20-minute video. And like talking to Daryl, engages me to think a little bit differently or kind of voice my opinion in a way that it would be a little bit tougher for me to do if it was just me talking. Maybe I'll have to think about that. Like, maybe Batman, Dracula, the Kelly Jones, Doug Munch. I think it was Doug Munch. Is my favorite Batman story of all time. Maybe that's one, or to maybe try a video on and see how I feel it sounds. Yeah, but Sam, it's not going to fly on a comic channel. You know, like it's got to be part of a comic road trip, because I'm happy to do that, but I feel like it's another one of those things that like the algorithm will just chew up and spit out. Yeah, maybe I'll see if I can get that video on tonight before we close the stream. Yeah, Tyler, I was flipping through some of it recently. I recorded something for Direct Edition. I was going through a stack of my signed records, and I did that post a couple weeks ago about my small graded collection, and people really responded to that. So I may just do a box of the PC one at a time, like a different video as a short box. More of road trip. Okay, yeah, gotcha. Deep dives on artists, key issues, obscure things in comics. I mean, yeah, but once again, because I do everything kind of ad-libbed, it's all just in here. I almost feel like it would be fun to do it in a conversational way, maybe with Daryl. Yeah. Do I think Nornrad Surfer will show up? Nope. I don't think there's any. I mean, maybe, but I honestly don't care if they ever put Nornrad in. Like, the Surfer is the Surfer, and she killed it. So, dude, book club was great. I mean, if somebody else started book club, I would be happy to maybe host it. But it's like all of the things that I'm trying to do. It's a lot. Hey, Xavier, what's up? X to the L. My boy. Yeah, I got my Switchblade Shorties copy a couple of days ago. I flipped through it very briefly, but I haven't, I haven't even had a chance to sit down with it, really. I should do a video on comics that nobody wants that you're stuck with. It's funny. Somebody else suggested that a while ago, and I try not to keep them around. But I have a guy who's local to me, who, when I buy a collection and I go through it, and let's just say for example, I get 22 long boxes, and I go through it, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep 12 of these. Maybe it's like an ASM run and it's a Batman run, and then I go through it and I pick out, like, it's not even that I pick out the keys, but if I get a full run of Warlord, I don't want that. I don't care what's in there. Or if I get a full run of New Mutants that goes from like 1 to 50, I'll move the whole thing. I won't pick out the First Legion or whatever. So I got a guy, he's retired, and he buys collections, boxes, whatever I have for him. And I think his wife does Barbies. Like, that's her hobby post-retirement, and he does comics, and he sells them. I think he sends a lot of the stuff to my comic shop. And we started doing this like a couple years ago. And it's to the point where he just says, I just give him a price and the amount of boxes, and he buys it. He trusts me completely, because the thing is, it's not like all junk. Like, sure, if I get a collection that's got 90s Image and Valiant, he's getting that, but he's also getting good stuff with it. I'm not going to give him several $100 books, but he doesn't want that. He actually will tell me, he's like, I want the weird stuff that you don't want. So, if I get a Dark Horse collection, I'll pull out like the Hellboy, and then he'll get the rest of it. FYI, new comic shop specializing. Ancient Comics is not new, really. Ancient Comics reopened after he was in Thailand for 2 years. Jeff is somebody I've known now for a while. He's a maniac, but the best kind of maniac. And Jeff, if you're watching, I would say that to you in person. But yeah, their soft opening was a couple months ago. I've already spent, since he's come back, probably about $1,500 with him. Well, I don't press, and I don't organize. The one video I do want to do, which isn't exactly the grading thing, is how to ship. I shot one last year, but the audio was so bad. There was something up with my microphone, so I scrapped it. But I'm gonna do a video that that shows how to ship one book, how to ship like 5 or 6 books, how to ship 20 books, 30 books, art, and you know, some other various things that I ship on the regular. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That exactly. So there you go. There's a perfect example. X Factor. I like, unless there's a really nice copy of the first Apocalypse, I won't pull anything from that run because nobody wants it. Nobody wants to buy it except Trip has a run to complete, and I think Amber. I like videos where you go through iconic book. Yeah, and Michael, those I will continue to record, especially when it's something that's like, right, that I may never have again, or most of us never owned, artist editions and stuff. And here's the thing that I was thinking is, if when I finally do a Patreon or some type of, you know, like membership thing, the bonus videos are going to be flip through books. So but the iconic ones I still want to, like, you know, that's the thing though, you know, I flipped through an Amazing Spider-Man 3 on the channel and like less than 500 people watched it. It doesn't make me not want to do it. It's just like, is this what I'm going to be posting weekly? You know, it's nothing like waking up on a Sunday and thinking that you have a great video that, you know, only 10% or not even 10%, 2% of your subscribers watch it. I have 50 copies of X-Force 1 in the polybag. Now I can retire. No, those are mine. Those are mine. I love Dave's pitch to Heritage. Unfuck their shipping. Oh my God. I heard back from them. They messaged me on Instagram and they said they'd look into it. And then I filled out their survey because they decided, oh yeah, we're going to send the automatic survey to this guy. And I ripped them a new one. And they were like, we'll look into it and talk to our shipping department. Like, no, you're fucking not. How to fit an entire collection right up the butt. Now we're talking. But I need your help with that. I need oh, hi, I was just suiting up with rubber gloves and KY jelly to get this entire collection up. And then we'll just cut to the West Coast Davengers logo. Nobody ships more securely than Davengerino. Daryl, was it you? Daryl, did you ask me to track you a copy of this down? Because clearly I did. Some hilariously dumb comics news today. Diamond has announced they are moving their shipping fees from... What? Yeah, what are they doing? They owe people money, and now they're just trying to shoot themselves in the foot, even though they clubbed those feet completely off. Have I ever gotten sick from an old, moldy, smelly comic collection? Not sick. There was definitely one collection I got that was so dusty. It wasn't moldy. If I saw any mold in a comic collection, I wouldn't buy it. But there was definitely one or two collections, and I think the one I remember was the storage locker one, that like I was congested and like felt like shit for like 2 days after because there was so much dust in it. I mean, okay, Daryl, that's no worries. There was the reason, you know, if you guys have seen some of the comments that I've gotten on collections, you know, some of these idiots that are like, why are you wearing gloves? Blah, blah, blah. My hands, my mom's got psoriasis. I have psoriasis. So when I touch too many older, dirty or dusty comics, my skin will crack completely. Like you can see a little scab there from it. I'll just start bleeding. That's why I wear the gloves. Ever investigate a collection covered in bugs and poop? Not poop. Definitely not. Well, actually, there's one collection, but nothing like that. Usually I'm pretty good with looking at the photos, but there is a video or a series of videos. If you remember, if anybody here remembers like the first year and a half of the channel, I went to a guy's house that used to own a store in Washington called, the fuck was it called? Wonderland, I think. Wonderland Comics. And like he posted an ad on Craigslist that he was like selling his inventory from his house, whatever it was, like an estate sale or something. And we went to the house. It was me and Joe. And Joe, if you remember, Joe, we were in the basement. You go down this guy's basement and there was like an island of tables and boxes, just shit scattered everywhere. I'll link the video in the description post when this is over. And you go down the stairs and like there was this, I guess it was like a laundry room off to the side. And I peered my head in and I started looking into the boxes. And I was wearing a mask. It was during COVID, but it was really kind of smelly in his house. So we were wearing face masks, both to be safe and also just to not breathe in. And I look over and it looked like there was an old shower, but there was a pipe and the pipe was broken and that wasn't a shower. And that pipe was a sewage pipe. And it was just open in the basement. That was the worst, because we were down there for a couple hours and we rescued a lot of comics. I mean, shit, pun intended. I pulled out 7 or 8 copies of Blade 1, the 90 series with the holographic cover, and I think I 9-8'd 5 of them from that collection. Fast forward to when that guy, his name of course is Dave, because everybody's named Dave, when I went to his storage locker, and the storage locker was very reminiscent of the garbage disposal in Star Wars. Like, you were up to your legs in just garbage. Like, might have been comic boxes, might have been periodicals. It was literally like we were walking over a good foot of garbage to get into this storage locker. And he's like, yeah, this is where I have all my eBay store stuff and all this stuff. Anyway, the storage locker wasn't gross. It was just garbage, like paper garbage. And you would like lift stuff up and there'd be a bundle of magazines on the ground under it. And you're like, anyway, we were in that storage locker for like 6 or 7, maybe even 8 hours. And at some point, my car keys, which was attached to my belt loop, they came off and I couldn't find them and I lost. And I had to spend like $500 on an emergency locksmith to come and make a new car key for me. And I never was able to get back into that storage locker because that guy Dave's an asshole. But who won? I won, because all the stuff I got from him for like several $100, I ended up making like $5,000 on. But still, I don't even know if that guy's still alive. A piss book. I don't know anything about that. I don't even know what that means. A piss book. It's a book that somebody pissed on, or a book about piss. Horror stories like this from digging and negotiating would be fun mini videos. I mean, yeah, a lot of them I'd have to go back through. I'd have to go back through the channel and just kind of like look at the collections I bought. I mean, you guys all remember the Weasel, right? The Weasel, that's a great story. I mean, it's in the opening title. Chem Dog in the house. What's going on, brother? Whose piss was it? I don't know what Tyler's talking about. A piss book. Let me see. Excuse me. I'm sorry. You guys want to see that? Let's take a little time to watch. I can find that drawing video. If you guys give me a second, I can just look under visibility, unlisted, apply. Yeah, here it is. All right, give me 1 sec, friends. We're going to share the screen and we're going to watch it together. It's only like a minute or so because it's sped up. It was a book that in the greater notes they identified as excrement. Oh, that's somebody. Oh, I don't know. I know you're referencing something, but I couldn't tell you what it is. Ian Gonzalez in the house. How you doing, brother? Comic Tim's piss. You guys want to watch this video of me drawing? It's like a time lapse, and it is, you know, I can't tell you anything else. But let's watch it. Can everybody see this? Yes, everybody can see this. Here we go. skewed shield. I'll look at the comments after. Anyway, so yeah, it's been described as, I self-describe my art as serial killer art, but I've had friends compliment me with saying it's outsider art, so I'll take it. Tyler, oh, you guys were talking about the shit book. Oh yeah, Ian ordered a record from Stand Up Records. Comic Tim's Piss is my metal band name. I did not have Comics Tim. It's like a fetus from South Park. Watching a master at work. Fine art. Sure. It's clearly a self-portrait. Shh, it's a secret. I think I gave it away. I honestly, somebody has it. I don't think I have it. If I do, I'll make it a giveaway soon. See, Raymar, that would be my drawing stream. Well, that was the key to it, right, Michael? It's like, if you put Mozart to it, it's definitely serial killer art. What's the most fun I ever had at a convention? We'll get back to that in a second, Chris. I just want to see what... So, yes, that is 100% a factual statement. Charles Salvador's art. I'll have to look. Uh-oh. Good news, everybody. Simon is sober. Sean Fisher in the house. Primus live in Dallas. Jerry was a race car driver. Drives so goddamn fast. Never did win a checkered flag. Never did come in last. Fucking Primus sucks, baby. What's the most fun I've ever had at a convention? I would say probably Heroes Con last year and this year. It's a tie between that and OAX. Because these are conventions that I know Heroes has been around for a while, but it's my first time 2 years ago. And OAX being brand new, goddamn, just so much fun. Ever regret selling a comic or set, but not because of monetary reasons? Yes. I think I might have mentioned it on a video coming up soon, or I mentioned it on a video like last couple weeks. I had gotten that Spawn Batman, the McFarlane Miller one, signed in person by Todd and signed by Frank Miller. And I sold it maybe 2018 or something like that. And I just kind of regret getting rid of that just because it's something I got in person. It wasn't a paid signing or anything that I got that stuff at. It was meeting them in person and getting it signed for free. I also had a Stephen Platt sketch when I was a kid. He did like on a backing board of Logan. And I sold that probably about 10 years ago, and I kind of regret that. But now I own a Stephen Platt Moon Knight page, so I can't really be too upset. But those are the only two things that really come to mind. If we're talking about like emotional things that like, I've given away a couple of the Todd books that I got signed when I first met him. But I've given one of them away to a friend, and the other one was for, I think, a charity auction. So that's okay. A lot of the things that I've sold that were sentimental to me were done to raise money for charity, because I see the best way to feel good about auctioning or selling something off for charity is to take something out of your personal collection. And then the only other thing comic-wise that I kind of regret selling, when I was a kid up until whatever, like early 2000s, I had bought every single Wolverine book. Not Hulk 181, but Wolverine 1 starting with the 1988 series. And when I moved from Portland back to Seattle, I had to like lighten the load, and I sold my entire Wolverine run, which, I've gotten it back in collections and stuff, but it's not the same thing as selling the one that you've had since you were a kid. But that being said, my Spider-Man McFarlane stuff, I mean, my ASM 300 specifically, I've had since I was 14 or 15. And my Spawn 1 that's signed by Todd, I've had for however many fucking years. So I kept a lot of this stuff. I just haven't kept everything. Having Miller and McFarlane sign a book at the same time. They didn't do it at the same time because it was not a convention that they both were at, but it was within like a year of each other. I definitely got that signed by McFarlane the first time I met him. And then I want to say the first or second time I met Frank Miller, I had him sign it. And he made a joking remark like noise. He's like, oh, you had this guy sign it here. And he was pointing to Todd's signature. But yeah, Miller, I like Frank Miller. And he was always nice. Always nice. I don't do any cleaning. So I don't have any advice on. The only cleaning I ever do is if there's some like dirt on or grease pencil on the front cover, I just use an Absarine sponge. But I never dove into learning how to clean press or anything like that because I just don't have the time. I mean, it seems like, we've got now a healthier Frank Miller. The damage, unfortunately, to his body has been done, but he seems like he's still the same nice guy. Apparently, it's his handlers that aren't really good. And it seems like we've seen it in the comic industry over time that because these creators don't really have a union or a system around them, it's like if they don't have good handlers or people working for them, they're getting taken advantage of. Speaking of, I'm so happy that Stan Lee documentary went away. So fucking happy. You want to talk about the comic world being a scum-filled place and people sticking up for somebody because it meets their, there's some monetary reason or the back was scratched. I'm so glad that fucking documentary went away. Gross. I got to meet him a year and a half. I remember when you talked about that, when you posted about it, or maybe you showed me what you got signed. Yeah, he is so awesome. Simon, I'm a fan. I have probably 15 of them in my PC. Where Miller is now. First of all, I will stick. If you want to compare his art now to his art 30 years ago, that's just not fair because nobody's art really looks the same for that long. But it's like true outsider art. Those variant covers. I love it. I love seeing it. Yeah, the doc was 100% gross. 100% gross. And like, look, I know that the person that I talk about the most on this channel, Todd, stuck up for him. And it was because like this guy had done some work for Todd filming or, stuff like that. But he clearly had to reach out to Todd because like that, like endorsement or whatever didn't come very quickly. Like Roy Thomas and Rob Liefeld, who they are behind anything that will get their name in the press. Oh, you know what? I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to seek it out. Yeah, well, look, Bill Sienkiewicz is, I think, an elemental force. There's water, there's fire, there's earth, there's air, there's Sienkiewicz. I don't even think that he's human. I think that he is an amalgamation of multiple otherworldly beings. But you're right. He's been consistent. He's consistently also evolved, which is the most impressive thing, is that like every evolution in his style, or, like if you look at the Batman covers he's doing now, they're almost like 16th century paintings or something like that. They're not abstract, but they're not like super focused. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. We love Sienkiewicz here. I love all Miller eras. I wish they color him differently in the current era. Yes, that is the biggest flaw of modern Miller, is that the coloring is so off. I want to see the black and white of what he's been doing. I was watching Kayfabe's episode on the I guess it was the Miller Artist Edition Daredevil. And like, his Daredevil era is amazing for so many people, like, grew up reading that. For me, I start looking at Miller, you know, I think I had read Dark Knight first. And then I probably read Year One, but pretty quickly it was the Sin City stuff I gobbled up. And I think Sin City is one of the most unique pieces of comic book work in the last 40 years, because it looks like, you know, the only thing it really you can compare it to is some Steranko stuff. And obviously Miller took a lot of influence from Steranko and then Will Eisner. But Frank Miller taking his style, mixing it with Eisner and Steranko, I mean, come on. You can't go wrong with that. Yeah, we all love Bill. What run is better in your opinion? Miller Daredevil or Alan Moore Swamp Thing? Ooh. Apples and oranges. They're still fruit, but that's tough because Rick Veitch and Toddleben doing the Alan Moore stuff, nothing else looked like it. And without it, you know, you probably don't get Grant Morrison's Animal Man. You don't get, you know, things like Shade the Changing Man. You may not get Sandman as it evolved into what it was, but man, I'm going to go with Miller. I'm going to go with Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. Not that I have anything against Daredevil by Frank Miller, because it's also amazing, but I think a superhero book versus whatever the fuck you want to call Swamp Thing is almost no comparison. Yeah, you know, I read it a little bit later than you, Joe, but it really did unlock something in me that, you know, between Sandman, Sin City, I think those two properties, books, whatever, specifically changed how the things I enjoy, what I wanted to read, and yeah, like you said, the aperture, and just like you just opened my mind up. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. Did I say Veitch? I meant Bissett. Because Veitch came. Well, they were all on it, but yeah, that is 100%. You know, without Miller doing Daredevil, you wouldn't get this now like legendary run that keeps coming and coming. So you got Miller, and then you get Mazzucchelli with Born Again, and then the list goes on and on further down the line. I mean, Nocenti and Romita Jr., Brubaker, Wade, Samney, Bendis, Malieve, all of it. Like, it all stems from the fact that Miller saved Daredevil and put Daredevil into a place where everybody wants to take a crack at Daredevil. I'll take Swamp Thing over Miller, DD any day, but they are different things. Well, and that's the thing, right? They are completely different. But yeah, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing is something else. Yeah, I mean, even after that, even after Alan Moore left, there's still some great issues. Gaiman did a couple of stories that are fantastic. Vest did some covers that are fantastic. I mean, just looking at all that stuff, really, it's amazing. And I think, you know, comics, just like movies or TV or music, they ebb and flow. You get dry periods of like garbage, you know, there are the 90s, early to mid 90s. But then what that does is it kicks back a new renaissance. So, you know, you get the Marvel Knights, and you get some of the greatest stuff that Marvel ever put out, you know, in the early 2000s. You get Garth Ennis doing Punisher for a long time. You get Bendis doing Daredevil. You get all these great runs after comics sink like shit. I mean, people will say the same thing about DC. Their rebound period is happening right now. Whereas like after the New 52 kind of like petered off or whatever, people were really not happy with DC, and now everybody is. Yeah, for sure. Claus and Miller is just banger team. They are. I mean, like, art-wise, but yeah, it's not a comparison, because like Miller and Klaus were doing one style of art, where Toddleben and Bissett were doing a completely opposite style of art. Both great in their own rights. Moore's Swamp Thing versus Galactus. I don't know how that is. How does that work, Daryl? Stop. But I already plugged our episode, and I had a lot of fun doing that. Daryl is one of these people that I think if we talked about any comic, we're a good cop, bad cop, bad cop, bad cop, good cop. Actually, fuck all cops. We are a great team. Yeah, I don't recall there ever being a bad issue of Marvel Knights Daredevil run. I mean, there's, people have problems with Kevin Smith killing off not Jessica Jones, Karen Page, but Marvel Knights just had some great stuff, and now they brought it back, and I'm so excited for Palmiotti and Panosian on Punisher, which I think I'm going to try and get both of them on the program together, which I think would be fun. But yeah, Marvel Knights, like even I read both Black Widow 3-issue miniseries. I enjoyed the hell out of those. But the stuff with Marvel Knights era, they may not have been under the Marvel Knights banner, but like the Marvel Knights era ushered in the Max line, and the Max line brought, like I said, Punisher, Ennis, Punisher, Steve Dillon. We got 2 Richard Corbin miniseries from it. You got Cage and Banner. You get Strange Tales, the 3 issues, and then another 3 issues. You get Spider-Man Tangled Web, which had stuff like Peter Bagg doing the megalomaniacal Spider-Man, Jimmy Mafood, Food One on Spider-Man. You get just all of this great stuff. The flowers for Rhino. Such interesting stuff that they took chances on. They just said, whatever, let's do whatever. Yeah, see, there you go. First Ennis work I ever read actually was Punisher Born, which is the story about him in Vietnam. And I did not know who I knew who Garth Ennis was by like my friend talking about him, but I hadn't read Preacher before I read Born. Remember when you were little and adults said, don't eat watermelon seeds, else a plant will grow inside you? That could be the Galactus story. He eats Swamp Thing's planet. That would be amazing. Derek, I'm going to unpin that comment. You need to go write that right now. Reborn Again for the first time for book club. Was not expecting that for Karen. Oh, yeah. She all addicted to smack. Yeah, maybe I should hop on your book club. Maybe I could be a part of that. Kate, I don't know if you're aware of this. It might be before you were watching the channel. But I used to have a show called Sunday Sit Down. And we did book club. The first one I did was like the heaviest story of all time. Me and Angel, East Bay, we did Barry Windsor Smith's Monsters. But we went on to do, we did Killing Joke, Days of Future Past. I forget what else. I think we did 1 or 2 others. But I enjoyed doing that. Yes. I bid on one of those pages from one of the Spider-Man books was on Heritage last week, but I didn't win it. I just bid on it a bunch of times, but didn't win it. I read I read that run when it came out. That was the one where he's seeing Spidey, Wolverine, and Cap or whatever. Or is that the Bendis run? I read a bunch of those Moon Knight runs because they would do like 12 issues and then it would be like, oh, it's done now. But I can't remember if I read the Houston run. Derek wins. He came up with the best storyline. As a kid, the most comic exposure I got was reading whatever I could on the comic racks at Safeway. I feel like I missed on so much. Well, look, I mean, the thing is, sure, time is a very limited thing that we have, but you can go back and read this stuff. I mean, there's not too much the stuff that may not be collected, you got your guy to get you. Yeah. Well, Kate, now that you have a YouTube channel, by the way, Kate is now swimming into the ones and zeros of YouTube. So go subscribe to Kate's Comics. But if you move that to YouTube and did it on a live format, I'd be happy to join and also bring this community with me. Galactus did eat the Impossible Man's home planet and got indigestion. Oh, that's right. We did Spider-Man Torment. Yeah, that was a fun one. Book club's great. It's just, it's so hard for me to think about organizing it. You know, like like this past Sunday, I thought about doing a Sunday sit down, and then I was just like, man, I'm so exhausted. I'm doing a new book club series soon. I'm reviewing John Byrne's Man of Steel miniseries this week. Oh, that's right. You do book clubs too. I just sold my last copy of that miniseries. Book clubs are fun. It's just, there's so much to talk about. And I talk. Those book clubs that I did on this channel, my God, some of them were like 3 hours. They were so much fun though. Okay, that is the Bendis run. Uncle Bingo. Bingo. All right. What's up? I'm drinking Swoon. 0 grams of sugar, only 5 calories. Nothing artificial. It's Swoon. I was like, wait, what does that say? Unless everyone was drawn by Finch. Okay, yeah, I read the first 5 issues of that, I think. That was when I was trying to read all like Finch's stuff. Speaking of David Finch, got a new series coming out with fucking Robert Kirkman, and he's been showing off some of the original art pages, and it's called Skinbreaker, and it looks awesome. Yeah. I think that's this book coming out with Finch is like his first monthly in a long time. I'm full of fun ideas. I'll bring it back. I've basically been doing story reviews on my IG, but they bomb. Well, the problem is with, in the algorithm in general, but with Instagram, if you're not posting every day, nobody sees your posts when you finally post. That's why I post in my story every day. Because if I do just post one thing or 2 things, it keeps my content on people's front end and they see it. And for me to post every day is not a problem. I always have a book I could take a picture of. I've always got something going on, but you know, Tyler, it's not like you do this all the time. So it's tough. Like I see Daryl's content all the time because he posts every day and I click on it. I mean, it's unfortunate. That's the existence of this whole thing. We were late to voting on the next title because time got a few weeks away. Hush. I need to read that Supergirl book. One I think would be a fun thing to do is any of the Daniel Warren Johnson books, but I think Wonder Woman Dead Earth would be a good one because that is so fucking good. And it's 4 issues. There you go. Oh, yeah, I am. I can't wait to see what the 2 of them cook up because I can't, if anybody knows, like when was the last time Finch did an ongoing? Like I don't remember anything recent, at least. I like to flip through in the reviews, Tyler. Yeah, Tyler does a great job with it. And he knows I look at that and I watch his videos and I miss his videos. You know, Swoon is probably my second favorite Silver Sun Pickups album. It's also their second album. You need more rage bait, Tyler. Like I read this story and it sucked. You know, I think about doing rage bait all the time and I hate the idea of it, but I know it works. Give Baby Richards his own movie. You know, it's so funny, Christian. I've talked about it that I'm on TikTok, you know, with DAVENGERs and Direct Edition because I find a different audience over there that hopefully I can bring over. And so, you know, I do scroll and I watch, and my algorithm feeds me a lot of movie reviews and a lot of comic book content and comic book movie stuff. And some podcast came across my feed and they were like, they were dogging on Fantastic Four, and I put and the person on the podcast, one of the people on there said the CGI was so bad, and I just wrote in the comments, I was like, I think you saw a different movie because the CGI wasn't bad, and like a bunch of these people came at me in the comments, like 4. I got like 300 likes on the comments, so I knew I knew I made a comment that made sense to most people, but somebody's like, "Did you see the baby? Did you see the baby?" And I'm like, if you're going to watch a Fantastic Four movie and a CGI baby really gets to you, there's no fucking movie on this planet that has CGI that you're going to enjoy. And if that, and it made me think about like younger people, and this is not an affront to anybody that's younger than me or just young people in general, but I see a lot of young people saying stuff like, oh, the color correction or this, and they're trying to like, if you go to any movie with a scalpel that's not Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, you're going to not enjoy it. Like, if you go and watch a movie with a scalpel of an opinion, there's nothing in this life you're going to enjoy. Wake up, people. The world is a fucking shitball. Everything could be nitpicked and complained about. Why are you going into a Fantastic Four movie and complaining about a baby? Anyway, was this the wokest comic ever? That's going to be the name of my next video. It won't even be about a single comic. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Bob. Yes, I'm glad. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And everybody that's new is always going to get a new sticker. And if I do a new sticker, then anybody who buys something is going to get that new sticker. So I appreciate it. And thanks for being a customer. And a Davengerino. Dead Earth would be a great one because Hamilton book has copies for 12. Oh, there you go. Welcome to the party, pal. Whoa, someone's good at multitasking. I am ridiculously good at multitasking, Keith. But sometimes, man, think about it. Podcast, this channel, the sales, the collections. Like sometimes I just want to crawl into a ball in my closet and never come out. I didn't live through Renee's meat. I don't know what that word is. Yes, I did get my copy of Switchblade Shorties. It's in the living room, and I do plan, hopefully, to set some time aside, hopefully this weekend, to flip through it and read it. You know, I want to give time to Ed's last work and not just casually look through it. Only Avatar is flawless CGI. That's why they got. That's all they got. I mean, look, Jim Cameron, if I can call him Jim. I love seeing those. Avatar and Avatar 2 are still two of the best movie-going experiences I've ever had in my life. I've never been so taken into a world and felt like I was somewhere else without drugs. Newborn Franklin CGI was creepy looking, sure, but it didn't make me think anything less of that movie, you know? It was such like the baby existing was a huge plot point of the movie, but like looking at I was just like, oh, whatever. I'm specking on the baby. Best CGI of all time is Jurassic Park and 17 shots of the whole movie. Yes, Spielberg, exactly. Well, Spielberg mixed with Stan Winston, mixed with the fact that he's Spielberg, and mixed with the fact that he's Stan Winston. 100%. I think T2 is up there in that in that conversation, but yeah, you can see the edges on T2, especially over time. Jurassic Park still looks absolutely perfect. Oh, see, that's not me. Yeah, see, I didn't watch the Twilight movies. I just had no interest. And you know, it's funny about that now. I'll go, like, if Kristen Stewart's in a movie, especially like an indie movie like Love Lies Bleeding or something like that, I'll watch that. And then I could watch anything with Pattinson in it. So I just didn't care about those movies. So I never saw them. Okay. All right. This is, yeah, now it makes a little bit more sense. Yeah. See, okay, perfect. Avatar, I saw it in 3D IMAX. The first one I saw at the Lincoln Center IMAX in Manhattan, across from Lincoln Center, and in 3D. Absolutely perfect. I saw it there again in Christmas when they re-released it. And then the new one, I saw it at the Pacific Center IMAX in Seattle, and I've never seen it since because, like, yeah, I don't want to ruin that 10 out of 10 perfect experience of, like, sitting there with the 3D glasses on, right, you know, 6-story screen, and just like getting immersed in a world. I don't give a shit about the story. The story, I'm in it for the spectacle of it. James Cameron has no haters. I'm dead. That's very true. That's very true. The Flash babies. Christ. Avatar borrowed heavily from Ursula K. Le Guin's novel, The Word for World is Forest. Yeah, and I don't know that book, but, you know, obviously Cameron's an environmentalist, has been, you know, he's been making movies that are socially conscious for a long time, with the exception of Titanic, even though that led him to explore the oceans more. It's a simple premise. It's a simple everything, but it doesn't have to be the most complicated story or even a great story for me personally to appreciate the visuals. Yeah. think I love Snyder's Watchmen. I think that's a great movie. And I think the CGI was actually really good in it too. Yeah. Dude, that movie was something else for sure. Kristen Stewart, it's interesting. You look at like the Potter actors and you look at the Twilight actors, and you take Kristen Stewart, Pattinson, Radcliffe, and Emma Watson. Watson's career hasn't really been, I mean, like, she did The Bling Ring, which I really liked, but she hasn't been like taking the best projects. Radcliffe, 100%. Like, everything he's been in since the Potter movies has been great. 10 out of 10 Swiss Army Man. If you've never seen it, that is a top 20 movie of mine. Absolutely love that movie. And yeah, Pattinson has done the weird shit. He's done a couple movies with Cronenberg, and now he's the Batman. And yeah, they took great projects after they did their popcorn fodder. Love Lies Bleeding was one of my favorite, but yeah, it's a fantastic fucking movie. Yeah, well, you know, they were kind of done with that movie before they put it out. I'd like to do that. I'm due for a Disney visit just to go to Star Wars Galaxy. But I haven't been to Disney in 20 years. 1997 masterpiece got me my first fandom, everything pertaining to the history of the Titanic. This song is for the survivors of the Titanic. My heart will go on. I didn't see Wicked. Not for any reason. It's just probably one day I'll watch it, but it's just not something I saw or cared about. Yes, Weird Al biopic with Radcliffe was fantastic too. Yep, Pattinson in The Lighthouse. Come on. Woof. 10 out of 10, baby. Let it go. Oh, wait, no, that's Frozen. No Man of Steel. You know, there are pieces of The Flash that I like. Mostly Supergirl. I think, I can't remember her name. She was fantastic as Supergirl. I know it's not the Supergirl that most people know, but I think it was a cool take on it. Seeing Keaton as Batman again was all right. I didn't need that, especially because Birdman exists, and Birdman is a far better movie than pretty much everything else. And Keaton's done some great movies, but Birdman is... I saw that movie 3 times in the theater. Same singer. Oh, Melissa Benoist. Oh, yeah, Supergirl. She was Supergirl. Right, and Adele Dazeem. No, not Adele Dazeem. I still think about John Travolta and Adele Dazeem. Anyway, speaking of John Travolta, if you really want to see a movie that'll make you question watching movies, The Fan or The Fanatic, where John Travolta plays an autistic person, except an autistic person is not what he played. He played something far more insulting. And what's his name? Devin Sawa plays the celebrity. So it's like kind of like what if, and it was directed by Fred Durst. Just watch it. Get stoned and watch it. All right. Flash and Supergirl is pretty much Val Zod Earth 2 New 52. All right, you fucking nerd. Dude, Birdman is, I think it's a masterpiece. And the fact that they filmed that and the way he edited it was to almost be like it's each day is one take. I think it takes place over the course of like 3 or 4 days. Everybody is just on a 10 on that movie. Emma Stone, Norton, Keaton, the 3 of them, Zach Galifianakis, they're all on a 10 on that movie. I like the 50s George Reeves Superman appearance in The Flash. I mean, it was cool that it existed, but it just, everything looked so bad. What they did to Nick Cage in that movie. What a hilarious ploy by Travolta. See, I can't be gay. I don't even know how to even know a Broadway star. Oh, John Travolta. Black waves teeming with salt foam to smother this young mouth with pungent slime to choke ye, engorging your organs till ye turn blue and bloated with the bilge and brine and can scream no more. Is that from The Lighthouse? Or has Derek possibly gone full blown, you know, whatever, 1800s poetry or 1600s poetry or like Salem witch trial poetry? What's happening? Bubble Boy, John Travolta. Yeah, well, there's only one Bubble Boy for me, and that's Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal. We love Jake. Don't we love Jake Gyllenhaal? Is there anybody here that doesn't? You know what song's in my head right now? Dido. He's gone cold. Well, Stan, because I'm talking about Devon Sawa. Anyway, I think there is a possibility that Derek is also maybe the Matrix. Dropping sonnets and shit. Yeah, Donnie Darko. One of the best movies to kind of really break down some great time travel theories. No, sorry, Tyler. You're about to lose your popeliness. Oh, yeah, because he used to date her. But look, I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not a hater. Taylor Swift collected men so she could write songs about them. Come on. That's what good songwriters do. Yeah, I think it was Defoe's character. Give Taylor's scarf back. First, you got to say, everybody's like, give her music back. Now she has to get her scarf back? Come on. She can buy another one, okay? She's Taylor Swift. She could just snap her fingers and Travis Kelce will go, I'll go get one. Because, that's what he sounds like. Yeah. Oh, Nightcrawler. You want to talk about a movie that is the visual and verbal example of sleaze. Nightcrawler is that movie. I don't know if I've ever talked about it on this, on the channel before, or on the podcast. I was originally offered the role. No, I like movies that are. I like movies that really give a good feel to a city. And whether it's, a visual feel or a characteristic feel. And the two LA movies that I think are like the perfect LA movies, and they both take place at night, Nightcrawler and Collateral. Those two movies to me are unfuckwithable. And you could watch those two movies as a like double feature, and they're almost compendiums to each other. Like, if Jake Gyllenhaal's character in Nightcrawler is following around the news story of Vincent shooting people, that would be an amazing timeline. That if both of those movies existed on, and then you could throw Ryan Gosling's you can throw Drive into the mix on that too. Yeah, Marco just said it. I didn't even see it. Taylor can't compete with emo. I'm just not your bedpost, just Linus. Drive, yeah. Fast and the Furious 1. That's a great LA movie. You never had me. You never even had your car. You are the cops, Brian. But that is a great LA movie. I mean, there's plenty, but for me, nighttime LA is more appealing than daytime LA. Chinatown's a great one too. LA Confidential's a great one. But like New York, you could easily say, obviously, Taxi Driver is, that's time and place. But Uncut Gems to me, perfect New York movie, especially specific to what he was doing in that movie. Chicago, The Fugitive, perfect Chicago movie. Falling Down's another great one. That's a good daytime one because that does. And you can make a case for Training Day. Oh, you saw it in the theater. There's movies. I saw Collateral in the theater a couple of times. There's a couple movies that I would go see. I saw Cabin Fever in the movie theater like 4 times. Ryan Gosling's career was one I could never have expected, from Sunshine to Ken. Yep. And now to, I think Hail Mary's going to be really good. But yeah, he's... what's the one that my buddy Will always talks about? Lars and the Real Girl. Yeah, that's one. And then Blue Valentine obviously is another one. To Live and Die. I haven't seen that in a long time. I think about like those 80s movies that I probably saw when I was younger. I mean, there's a couple others. What's the Jake Gyllenhaal cop movie with Michael Pena? That was a good one. But I just look, Michael Mann, Heat. Michael Mann knows how to make a city look absolutely like either an appealing place or a character or a place you don't want to go. Like there's something about Michael Mann's depiction of LA that really gets me. Blade Runner. There's also 2049 also. The Safdies make a hell of a New York. So in Good Time, which was their first movie, the amusement park that they go to is a place called Adventureland. And that was one of my first, that might have been my first actual job when I was 15, was working in the restaurant at Adventureland. My brother worked the rides when I was younger too. Yeah, Bullet, Steve McQueen, San Francisco, great. French Connection was New York, right? Or is French Connection Chicago? I know there's an all train. Just can't remember. End of Watch. Yes, that's the name of the movie. It's a hell of a gritty movie. It's been a long time. I saw it when it came out on DVD. That's a special place, dude. I used to work events twice a year in Palm Desert. And every time I went out there, I took a drive around the Salton Sea. I went down to Salvation Mountain. Yeah, that Salton Sea movie is a wild movie. Okay, French Connection's New York. Yeah, it's a great depiction of it. Great depiction of it in the 70s. Maybe that was late 60s. San Francisco, another good San Francisco movie. Zodiac. Was The Confession? Was that Gene Hackman? No, what am I thinking? What's the one where he's... is The Confession? No. Where he's listening in. It's the guy who did the score for Zodiac, did the score for that movie. Damn it. Cop and a Half. I don't know that movie. But Tampa, that's not a city, right? That's not a city that you would see on film. Miami, obviously, is the Florida city that gets the most visual treatment in a movie theater. I mean, Bruckheimer, Michael Bay, those guys knew what they were doing with Bad Boys. They made Miami look even more appealing than it looks. I lived in Palmdale for a minute. No Country for Old Men nailed West Texas. And West Texas is... that's a place that most people don't really know. I've only been out West Texas twice, but to El Paso, but I liked El Paso. The Conversation. Thank you, Marco, and thank you, Ian. Was that a San Francisco movie? I feel like it was. And I feel like that's why they tapped, I can't remember the composer's name, to do Zodiac. It was David something. Someone will put it in the chat. I'm trying to think, like, that's a thing, you can't really do it in comics that well. Although some creators have done it, like really make a city a character, or at least depict a city in a way. But it's more of I like seeing it on film. Didn't they shoot the Punisher film? Yes, they did, or at least in Northern Florida for sure. That most of it was shot, I think in Tampa, Matt, because I remember when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that's Florida. I mean, Florida, the Keys. What was the show that Ben Mendelsohn was in on Netflix that took place in the Keys? The Keys are a very picturesque place. It wasn't David S. Pumpkins. Shut up. The First Dirty Harry is a great Bay Area movie. Yeah. Last Picture Show was a good film in West Texas. That was with, what's his name, right? Fuck, I can't remember his name. I know that movie. No Country for Old Men is amazing for having no soundtrack music at all. Yeah. There's certain things the Coen brothers can do that you don't even notice they're doing. Yes. Well, yeah, you can't shoot something in the summer. You'd be just dying. Although, whatchamacallit, a lot of the last Fincher movies, some of it took place in Florida. The Killer. I like that movie a lot. Oh, Bridges in the Last Picture Show. Then what am I thinking? What movie am I thinking of? The Last Cowboy, maybe? No, there's some movie I was thinking of that took place in Texas that had that guy that was... God, I can't... Oh, it doesn't matter because I can't think of anything. David Shire. Thank you, Ian. Yes. Great composer. Hasn't done too many films that I know of, but The Conversation is an excellent score to listen to while you're reading, and so is Zodiac. I do a lot of, when I'm reading comics, I've talked about this before, and I'd love to hear if there's certain things that you listen to when you're reading comics. I listen to a lot of Trent Reznor scores while I'm reading comics. I'll put on Social Network if it's something that's a little bit more action. I'll put on, if it's something like a little more dark, I'll usually put on like, Watchmen score sometimes works, but Gone Girl or Dragon Tattoo or, I'll just put on anything that they do. Or Ghosts. Nine Inch Nails Ghosts. Thunder in Paradise was also filmed in Florida. Yeah, I remember that shit fucking movie. Talia Al Ghul's ex-husband? Oh, Talia Shire. No, David Shire's the ex-husband of a fictional character in the Batman universe. I should have... Yeah, that's the more accurate statement. Well, hell yeah. Hell yeah. We miss Ozzy. Movie scores when reading. Right now you're on the new Superman or Sinners. I haven't put on the Sinners score. I should listen to it because that so far I think is may not end up being my favorite movie of the year, but it's definitely the best movie so far this year. Probably my favorite. Conan the Barbarian score for everything. There you go. There's a way to get your blood flowing while you're reading. Nine Inch Nails Ghost though is usually like my default. If I'm reading something or I'm just relaxing, I'll put that on. Especially the ones that Trent released during the pandemic, Locusts and Together. Is it Locusts and Together? Yeah, it's nice to hear what people listen to while they're reading. Like it, I mean, I think it's easy to say and true that, what you're listening to definitely is a little bit of your personality. Ooh, yeah, that's a great one. Fucking Daft Punk, baby. And Nails doing Aries. I can't wait. Seriously, it was such a great movie. Yeah, there you go. That's another one that, like, Tron Legacy was a good movie. The soundtrack was amazing. And I think Aries looks really good. I have to say, like, it's probably leaning towards the fact that the visuals look absolutely stunning and the soundtrack is done by, Nails. But for all intents and purposes, when Jared Leto plays a fucking weirdo or something, a weird character, he's actually really good at it because it's not much acting. Highlander soundtrack from Queen. I couldn't listen to Queen while I'm reading. Queen is more of a cleaning the house, band for me. Just because there's so much energy in their music. Yeah. Did you know that they did I want to say about 5 years ago, they came out with a version of The Fragile that's just the instruments, the music. It's called Deviations. It's wild to hear the music that's in there with because when you layer Trent's vocals over something, you're going to miss some of the background stuff unless you're listening to it in really quality headphones. And Deviations is a great way to listen to that album. Graham Revell's The Crow score. Interesting. I don't think I've ever listened to the score. Is that the movie or is that the soundtrack that came with the book? Because I have that edition that has the CD. I think you're talking about the Crow score for the movie. I have never listened to the score, only the soundtrack. And obviously I've seen that movie probably 30 times. That, would be a fun thing. And I don't know if I'm the person to do it, but I would definitely take part in it. You can't do it on YouTube. You can do it on Twitch. It would be fun to do a watch along to comic movies. Like maybe one a month. We all just watch a movie together on Twitch and then fuck around in the comment section. The movie. Okay, yeah, I've never listened to the score. Obviously, I would be familiar with it. I also listened to Sean Walcott's Lady Swordfighter album that Scheme posted about last year. I just saw Sean Walcott posted something else. I got to go listen to that because I definitely didn't. Jealous, what, did I have the original book soundtrack thing? Or, I don't know. Nin on the Quake soundtrack, yeah, that's a fantastic one. That got a vinyl release over the pandemic. That's a fun one. Their Watchmen score, Atticus and Trent's Watchmen score was 10 out of 10 fucking perfect. The one that's the two that are kind of low key, I think are gems, are the soul score that they did with John Batiste, and then the oh man, what's the name of it? The The movie that he did about what's his name that wrote Citizen Kane. Why can't I think of it? I love that movie. That soundtrack is amazing, and what went into it was amazing. But I think my brain's broken. Yeah, I'm into it. Hey, Joshy's in the house. What up, Joshy? I don't have a Twitch account, but I could look into it. It's just once I definitely could commit to doing something like that once a month on like a Saturday night. Cause I'm 45. I don't go out on fucking Saturday nights. I'm going out this Saturday night to see Death Cab, but that's about it. But I think we could do that. Yeah. Well, I guess I could start up an old Discord again. I'd have to look into it. I'd have to see an example of how somebody does it and then just figure out how to do it my way. American Psycho on the Twitch community film, underrated comedy. Yeah, this is my American Psycho business card. Go to music for writing is hands down the Pirates score. Pirates of the Caribbean, really? That's interesting. That's a great score. Was that is it Zimmer? I can think of the title. Or no, it's Gore Verbinski directed it, but I can't remember if it's Zimmer or if it's Cliff Martinez. Mank. Thank you, Michael. First of all, that movie is underrated. I think it was fantastic. What Fincher wanted to do with being like an old movie that somebody found in a film vault. But what Trent and Atticus did, especially over COVID, was like they found musicians that could play the instruments that were of that time period, had them all record remotely, and they put together such a brilliant soundtrack that sounds like a movie from the 30s. For Fantasy Comics, Last of the Mohicans score is a classic. Great movie. I do not remember the score, but obviously remember I remember the movie. No, Orson Welles. So Mank is about Herman Mankiewicz, who wrote Citizen Kane for Orson Welles, and it's Gary Oldman playing Herman Mankiewicz. It was Hans Zimmer. Yeah, his you know what's interesting about Zimmer? He's got such a range, right? He's got, you know, you look at Interstellar and then you look at something like like Pirates, but then you look at Gladiator, and Gladiator is kind of like the middle of the road with those two kind of styles. And he's just such a brilliant composer. Yeah, you can kind of remember a lot of the cues that he's written. I was like the score Nightmare Before Christmas. I listened to that hardcore when I was, a teen into probably like my late teens. And then once everybody it started to show up everywhere, I was like, I can't anymore. I got oversaturated with the movie and the score. Can we all get an old school West Coast Davengers? What up, George? Just rewatched Interstellar the other day. God damn that score. So a little insight. We didn't even talk about it on the interview, but that's one of the things that Daniel Warren Johnson creates a lot of art and books too. It's hard for me to pick a favorite Nolan movie because Nolan does it was that swoon coming up. Everything so well. Is it Interstellar? Is it the Dark Knight trilogy? Because it's not one. It's one movie, or is it Dunkirk? Is it Oppenheimer? Is it Memento? Like, it's so hard to pick. Is it what movie is his best or my favorite? All right, let's run it all back. Hi, welcome to no, not at all. Action Comics Fight Club score by Dust Bros. That's a great score too. Sugar helps it stay down. You need some sugar. Get some water. And also frost. Sometimes it makes the blade stick. Ooh, there we go. Yeah, some Goblin. That's some classic shit here we go. Okay. Suspiria. I didn't see the original until later in life. But the remake that Luca did with the score by Tom York, holy shit. Amazing. I think both movies are great. I actually think Luca's version is a better movie story, all that. Visionary wise, Argento, you look at the colors that he used and just the visuals on that is unbelievable. And the soundtrack by Tom York. Sure, he wasn't trying to, but no one rated great. Yes, he did, but no, actually, yeah, that was all Chicago. Whereas I think it's hilarious that when you watch Dark Knight Rises, Bane leaves the stock market in New York, goes through the streets of Pittsburgh, through the tunnels of LA. It's like the wildest thing that chase scene, I think, spans 3 cities. Or maybe it's Chicago, LA, and New York. Yeah, Memento is so good. Yes. Well, I love that score. I love that movie. And I also love, if we're talking about the Fincher remake, Karen O and Trent Reznor doing the Immigrant Song. Fuck yeah. Splinter. Yes. See? Yeah, everybody's got some Argento love. Pulp Fiction soundtrack, Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, well, Tarantino's the master of putting together a mixtape soundtrack. You know, like not new songs, but he knows how to soundtrack a movie. Whereas, like, although he got Ennio Morricone to do the Hateful Eight score, and I love that score, even though I think that one gets overlooked. Yeah, hell yeah. That movie is so good. That soundtrack is so good. I got Goblin. That's really funny. Goblin did one here recently, in the last year. I didn't get to go to it, but yeah. I what's the most underrated movie of all time? Ooh. All right, hold on. Why is it okay? What's the most underrated movie of all time? I can give you a recent one that I think was not only misunderstood, but definitely, and I mentioned it already tonight, was definitely not as celebrated as much as their next movie. And that was Swiss Army Man, which was done by the Daniels, who went on to do Everything Everywhere All at Once, which, obviously won an Oscar. Swiss Army Man got put into a corner of, a dick fart joke movie, which was so much different. And so it was about so much more than that. Radcliffe and Paul Dano, absolutely perfect. Soundtrack done by 2 of my favorite musicians, Andy Hull and Rob from Manchester Orchestra, Rob McDowell. But that was the first movie that the Daniels did. And, they went on to win an Oscar, whatever it is, like 7 years later. That's right. Oh, Goblin's going to be a Future Ruins, so I'll see them then. Yeah. Also, Kubrick for soundtracking a movie, but with classical orchestra music. What are we talking about? Are we talking about 2001? Are we talking about all of his stuff? Yes, dude, it's so good. It's so good. Clockwork Orange soundtrack. Death Proof. That's a movie that, once again, like when the Grindhouse came out, there were the Tarantino people that loved Death Proof. There were the Rodriguez people that loved Planet Terror. I do agree that Death Proof is underrated, especially when it comes to, we're looking at, Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown's a great example of a movie that, even for me, I saw it when it came out, and I didn't love it as much because it's Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and then Jackie Brown. But then I watched it again very recently, maybe within the last 6 months, and I was like, damn, this is such a gem. Such a gem. Porky's super underrated. It's a great movie. There we go. Yeah. Shining. That's right. The Shining, he did it in The Shining too. That's still one of the most terrifying movies for me. It still fucks with my head. It gets under my skin. Under the skin. Talk about a movie that gets under your skin. Also has an amazing score by somebody that's not talked about a lot. Mika Levy, who has done Under the Skin and Jackie. And then I forget the Brazilian movie that she did that was fantastic. But man, Jackie. That's an underrated movie. Natalie Portman as Jackie Onassis. Not much of a plot. Takes place over the 3 days after and during, the assassination. But it's just this amazing performance backed by a beautiful score, set design, costume design, just everything that you want for a movie that's not, that you're just kind of looking into somebody's life at a certain time. So much great setup and payoff in Death Proof. You know, it's been so long since I've seen it because I saw Grindhouse as the double feature in the theater, and like a lot of things that we've talked about tonight, sometimes that theater experience is so good it's hard to watch the movie sitting on your couch. But not for any other reason, just that I enjoyed that so much, that experience. Yeah. And Kurt Russell, come on. That was our first Kurt Russell Tarantino team up. And now, you know, after Hateful Eight, I'd love to see Russell in Tarantino's last flick whenever that happens. Hateful Eight to me is just such an amazingly like perfect movie for Tarantino. It's a stage play, but not. It gives us great performances from Jackson, from Walton Goggins, from Kurt Russell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Channing Tatum, even though he's not in it for too long, fucking Michael Madsen doing a Michael Madsen, what's his name? Tim Roth. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Anyway. Good, the Bad, the Ugly score. Oh, that's such a great way to go into that movie. You know, it took me a second viewing to enjoy that movie. I saw it the first time and I was like, and then I watched it again. I think I watched it again before Killing of a Sacred Deer came out. And I was like, okay, now this movie, yeah. Yes, I saw the Roadshow production in Seattle when it came out. And then I've watched the movie several times since. I wish that Tarantino I wish they'd finally just put all this stuff out. Like, The Whole Bloody Affair needs to be on a Blu-ray somewhere. I saw The Whole Bloody Affair in a theater. I want to say it was at like Columbia University in New York back when I was, you know, still in New York, and getting to see Kill Bill in its intended format was so fucking cool. My favorite theater experience of all time is something I'm going to experience again next month. If you're, and we're going to get going soon because my voice is starting to hurt. 2 hours of talking, sitting, when I've got to do this tomorrow again. I got to see Jaws at Cinerama in Seattle back in, I want to say like 2018. It might have been maybe it was the 40th anniversary. No. Anyway, I'd never seen Jaws on the big screen. You know, I'm not old enough to have seen it in the theater. And I've always watched it at home. And getting to see Jaws on the big screen, literally around a bunch of people I could tell that have never seen it before, because the jump scares scared the shit out of most of the theater. Like, I don't get emotional at experiences like that too often. I got really emotional during that, for good reason. And in that same theater, I got to see earlier, I want to say it was earlier that year, my parents were in town, and I took my parents to go see I want to say it was a 70 millimeter showing of Raiders. And, you know, one of my dad's favorite movies is, you know, Raiders and the Indiana Jones movies. And I got to watch that with my parents, and that was super awesome an experience. Am I a Takeshi Kitano fan? I can't say I know who that is by name, so don't hate me. Yes, I'm looking at his picture right now. I mean, I've definitely seen some of his movies when I was, you know, like some of his stuff was on HBO at some point. But I always take suggestions. But I don't know if you were talking to me, Brunson. You might have been talking to Ian. I love that this community, sorry, Raymar. I love that this community, some of you are complete cinephile nerds, some of you are not, but we're all able to talk about this stuff and have fun. I mean, look, here's the thing. We get direct edition to the point where I can go live. I'll probably move this show to that channel so that it's under the banner of talking about all of that stuff. I feel like I've seen this, the remake, but I feel like there were some police movies that he was in that I saw. My Japanese knowledge, I'm assuming he's Japanese. I don't want to but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's Japanese. My Japanese knowledge of stuff is only really grown over the last, several years, with the exception of Godzilla. And Akira. Godzilla and Akira. Akira is probably the first thing I saw that was Japanese. And then, I should say, Princess Mononoke was something that, all right, Sonatine. Okay, easy. I remember when Mononoke came out here and I was like, I got to see that. And, but yeah, I've just, it's all about like influences and the people around you. Somebody recommends something and you see it and you like it, or you listen to it, you like it, you read it, you like it. And then you go and explore from there. The first two things, and I do want to get going soon. This is something, maybe it's worth recording at some point. It's talking about like my early influences from older friends or family or something. One of our family friends introduced me and my brother to Gwar, Ministry, and the Dead Kennedys kind of all at the same time. And the reason why a lot of that came together is because like Jurgensen and Jello Biafra had the supergroup Lard. And I think that was like appealing to me as a kid because it was mostly funny. And that led down a rabbit hole of like exploring so much music. And that same friend introduced me and my brother to the movie Bad Taste, which, if you know, is Peter Jackson's it's his first movie. It's one of the greatest low budget horror comedy things to ever grace the screen. And if you much like Sam Raimi, you look at Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness and you see like the Raimi-isms. When you watch Bad Taste and then Meet the Feebles and Dead Alive, and then you go fast forward to, The Frighteners and Heavenly Creatures, but you fast forward to Lord of the Rings, and the gory kind of schlocky stuff that we saw in Lord of the Rings dates back to Peter Jackson's first movie, Bad Taste, which he filmed over the course of like 6 years, and he plays two characters in it, and it's like thin Peter Jackson and fat Peter Jackson. It's fucking amazing. Yes. Have fun, kid. Well, look, we all have to remember 4 words. Nazi punks fuck off. And Jello Biafra taught us that. And with that, I think that's a good way to end the stream. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's a great one to have, and it's been a while since I've done one of these. With everything, I should be back with a sale next Wednesday. If not, I may push it to Friday night just to, give people a nice thing to do on Friday night. Either way, I'll know by probably this weekend. If you could hit the like button, I'd appreciate it. If you could follow the podcast Direct Edition, the full Daniel Warren Johnson interview is going to be premiering on Monday. The piece of it is going to premiere this Sunday on the channel. Watch one of the videos that I released this week. It would help. Or just go in and hit the like button, get it out there. But thanks everybody for being here. Brunson and Derek and Tyler, the homies, the friends, the people that are watching because they want to hate watch me, that too. I'll hit you up tomorrow, Josh. I'd like that. But everybody have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Have a good week. Stay cool. Watch out for tsunamis and all that stuff. And keep reading comics and keep digging and keep on rocking in free world. Nazi punks fuck off. Bye.